Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Marilyn, and if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. Have you seen the videos on this new HTV Ront phone case heat press? This is a vacuum press that you use a sublimation image with. I published my unboxing and first use video here within the last few days. In that video, all I made was a couple of phone cases. They turned out really cute, but isn't only good for phone cases. When I received this from HTV Ront, there were several sublimation blanks in it. So in today's video, we're going to try their sublimation blanks as well as sublimation blanks that I got off of Amazon. So the question is, do I like this? Do I love it? I'm not going to know until after today's video because I've only done these two cell phone cases. Now, whether I like it or love it, or whether you might like it or love it, you still have to decide. Is this a good investment for me or my small business? If the answer is yes, check out my link below. If you use the discount code Marilyn45, you can get $45 off the purchase of your press. Now let's see, how does this work on things other than phone cases? If you're interested in seeing a project from start to finish using this machine, including the software, how to power it on, how to change the settings, I covered all those things in my first video. I'm going to link that in the video description below in case you're interested. But in today's video, I want to explore how this does on non-phone case blanks. Some of these blanks will be ones from HTV Ront. Many of them will be things that I got off of Amazon or other places. In the manual, there's a chart of the time and temps that you use for various types of materials. So I'm going to refer to that during the video. With this heat press, there is heat coming from the lower plate as well as the upper plate, so you have to set those individually. Now let's go ahead and get the phone case out of here, or the phone case fixture, and instead we're going to use this base plate today. Now this side is if you're doing the buttons, or they call them badges, and then this side is if you're just using flat things. There's templates here, but we're going to disregard that today. I'm going to do this a little bit differently. So this goes in the bottom. And the first materials that we're going to work with are what they call leather coasters. Now, I don't think it's real leather, but it's a leather-like material, and what they provided was a coaster. Here's the images that we're going to use. It's the same image, just one's large and one is small. On the large image, we're going to use the coaster that they provided. Again, it's a leather-type material. On the small one, we're going to use this keychain. This is similar. I either got it off Amazon or from Conde Systems. I'm not sure, but it is generally the same type of material as this. To get my film to go through my printer, I have to attach it to a regular piece of printer paper. But that's worked really well for me. While we're letting this get really nice and hot, you're supposed to let it sit for a few minutes to make sure it's really nice and hot in there. We're also going to put the film on top. They recommend that so it can get nice and dry. If you've looked at the templates in the software that you use for this, you're going to notice I didn't use their template for this. Now for phone cases and the badges, I would absolutely use their template because it's going to put it in the right place. But instead of using the marks you see on here, we're just going to place them by hand on here and tape them down. We're going to see how that works. So after this has been up to temperature for about 5 minutes and this has been drying, we'll go ahead and tape our items to this and we'll get started. This is a blank from HTV Ront, so I'm just going to turn it over and tape it on. You're going to see these same designs over and over tonight. These two as well as some other ones. I just wanted to see the comparison between their blanks and other blanks. Also, some of the things that I'm doing don't require this type of press. You could do them on a heat press or in a sublimation oven, but I've had some emails, people asking me about certain things. Also, since they sell these types of things, I want to compare something to it. Okay, hopefully this method works. That's a little bit large. Let me cut that down. I believe they said that if you don't do this, the backside might kind of stick to that metal plate. All right, let's go ahead and place the film over our press. This entire gasket type thing has to be covered with a film. Otherwise, you're not going to get a great vacuum. Let's go ahead and close this and press the start button. All right, let's see how these turned out. I have high hopes for these. Okay, that looks a little light. And I think that one looks a little light. Now, do I think I could get to the correct color with different settings? I do. All right, there's what the back looks like. But finding those right settings, that's going to take some experimentation. So again, here's the HTV Ront blank. This is the blank that I got elsewhere. They look pretty much the same to me. Again, they're a little light, but I can adjust my settings for next time. Now we're going to move on to some projects that include MDF with a sublimation coating on top. This is the one that was provided by HTV Ront. This is one that I got somewhere else. Now I do need to make sure there's no film on that. I think there might be. A lot of blanks like this come with a protective film, so be sure and check for that. That's been sitting up there quite a while, so let's go ahead and tape down our blanks. Now this one is two-sided, so sometime I'll try to put a piece on both sides. This one has just a little scar, so we're going to use this side down. Okay, let's see how these turned out. I wish I could lift one up and kind of look at it, but I have a feeling when I take it out, it's not going to go back in there. So this was the HTV Ront blank, and that looks better. Ooh, the back of that's hot. That looks better. I still think it could look a little more vibrant, but it could also be the image that I chose. We have some brighter ones coming up. And then this is something that I got, I don't know where I got it, off Amazon. From Conde Systems, I'm not really sure, but let's see how it turned out. It's also made with MDF and then a coating on front. Now that's not as vibrant as the blank that they sent, but it looks pretty good. Now we're going to do a couple of ceramic things. This is the blank that they sent. This came from Michaels. Now they're very different thicknesses. Let me show you that. This one's fairly thin. That one's pretty thick. So hopefully this works out well. Just like before, we're going to let this sit here for about 5 minutes. For ceramic, they recommend 285 and 285, so let's go ahead and bump that up. I ended up bumping my preheat up a little bit. It was at 5 seconds, now it's at 10 seconds. They do say in the manual that the preheat gets this pliable and it makes for a better transfer. So let's see if that helps. Now this time, I think I'll just lay these down on the metal base plate. This is one that I got at Michaels. Let's close this up and press that start button again. Oh, those look promising. Now this is going to be really hot. Ceramic is very, very hot when you sublimate it. So let me get my gloves on. This was the one the HTV Ront provided. This is the one I got at Michaels. Ah, that is so pretty. So pretty. That is gorgeous. Maybe I didn't clean it. I see a little something that has nothing to do with the press. Look at that. Now on these coasters, there is some sublimation coating that goes over the side. So that wraps around. So pretty. Now we're going to work on some metal blanks. 285 and 285 is correct, but the time is 330 seconds. So let's do the time button. I'm going to stay with the 10-second preheat, and then I need to bump this up to 330. Let's close it, and then we'll put our film on top. Now there is nothing fancy about these designs. I just found some things on Creative Fabrica that I could print out and use for this experiment. Now let me go ahead and get this tape off. For this part of the experiment, we're going to complicate things just a little bit. I'm going to tape a couple of these blanks to the film, and then for one of them I'm just going to leave it on the base plate and let the suction pull the film down. Let's see if there's a difference. Now, who has a dog tag without their dog's name, their phone number? Me, because it's just an experiment. By now, you know the drill. We close it, we push the start button. There's a little bit of red on the back of that. That must have come from one of those coasters earlier, the round ones. That has to be from that. And let's start with this one. Oh, okay, this came out great. That came out great. The colors on that are spot on. Let's see about this one. This one's a little bit thinner from a different vendor, and it came out great too. And then the star, I am pretty sure this came from Condé Systems, and that looks good as well. Okay, I am happy with how this does on metal. Let's go ahead and take this out. Now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do a couple of buttons, or badges as they call them. To print this design, I did use their software, and I did that so the designs would be placed perfectly where they need to be. Just like when you're doing phone cases, these badges or buttons, they have fixtures. So the fixtures go down in the little holes or divots. And I'm just doing 2 of them. We're still staying at 285 and 285 for 330 seconds plus a 10-second preheat. I do need to let these heat up for about 5 or 10 minutes. So we'll close this and we'll put the film on top. Okay, now one thing I notice is I need to turn this like this. So I have my flowers turned the wrong way. And you know what? We're just going for it. This is an experiment. It's gonna be fine. So on the back you have your pin, and that pin sits right down in this opening. I hope those are centered up well. I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, let's see how these turned out. And I did get the pictures in the right place. There's extra here and extra here, but I can see that the entire button was covered. All right, let's start with this one. And I should have peeled this off as soon as I took it out, because it is hard to get off now. I think I might have to cut it. You're supposed to peel this off as soon as you take it out. And I was busy chatting and looking. There we go. And look, it's gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. And same for this one. Those turned out great. Gorgeous colors. And it's wrapped around. Here's this one. The colors are wrapped around. So to me, this machine shines when you need your image to wrap around something. Like the buttons. And the ceramic pieces. Especially, look at that. All the way around the side. At least as far as there is sublimation coating. There's no sublimation coating on the back. It ends where you see the green end. And this is something I got at Michael's. That's gorgeous. These metal pieces were also successes. But you could do this on a regular press because they're flat. They all turned out very nice. This cow turned out pretty nice. I think this one is too light. We're going to play with settings for the MDF, and then we're also going to play with settings on the leather-like things because those are too light. Here's the items that I would consider big successes. As for those other two types of items, I'm going to keep working on it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until my next video, bye-bye.